And we are back here again. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market struggles while gold and silver are ripping, going parabolic. Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market are struggling while gold and silver are enjoying the holiday season. We are going to talk about this cryptocurrency market. I'm going to give you guys an update from our last Bitcoin update, all coins update. We'll talk about what has changed since we analyzed the market. Do we have a different outlook? Do we have a Bitcoin that's doing something different? Do we have an altcoin market that is turning out to be bullish? Do we do we see a breakout in the near future? We are going to talk about all of it. But once again, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having an amazing what day is today? Hopefully, you guys are having an amazing Wednesday. First and foremost, of course, happy holidays, happy, not happy, Merry Christmas. Even if you don't celebrate, Christmas, hopefully you are in a good place. Hopefully your spirit is right. Hopefully you are, hopefully you're in good place, even if you don't, if you don't celebrate Christmas. For those of you guys who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Hopefully all is good. Maybe not in regards to the cryptocurrency market, but it is what it is. Just give me a second. Let me go on X. Let me see if we can get more viewers right here. If you are joining me for the very first time, I would ask you to, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and what else? I don't think there's anything else that I need from you. Maybe if you have stuff that you want me to analyze, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat. But just give me a second, guys. Let me go to X. See if we can if we can give people the heads up that we live right now. Maybe we can get a few more viewers. But anyways, yeah, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let's get straight to it. Let's talk about this market right here. Merry Christmas to all of you guys. So the last live stream was from about 2 days ago, and I talked about the trend is your friend. We are bearish until the trend is over. All right, that was the theme of the last live stream. So I want to pick up from here, and I want to talk about where we are right now in regards to the price of Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency market. So, if you don't know, I want you to know it by now. I'm bearish on the market. I do think the bull market is over. As long as the price of Bitcoin is trading below, key levels, as long as Bitcoin maintains a bearish structure where price continues to put in lower highs and lower lows, I'm not bullish on the market. I'm 100% bearish on this market. But we have a Bitcoin, currently trading at, $87,570. But price is, really isn't, price is meaningless. Even if the price of Bitcoin was at $100,000, as long as the structure was like this, there will be nothing to be bullish about. So when you look at the performance of Bitcoin since $126,000, which was sometimes early October, Bitcoin has not been bullish at all. All right, Bitcoin has not been bullish at all since 126,000 $126,000. Every single rally has putting in a daily lower high. All right, every single one of these rallies has put in a daily lower high. Every single pullback has also put in a daily lower low. All right, this is exactly what a downtrend looks like. This is what a bearish market looks like. This is not a market that you want to be bullish on. The characteristics of this type of a market is not the one that you want to be bullish on. In fact, what you do in this type of environment is, whenever you get a rip, whenever price comes up like this, what you actually do, you short the market. Whenever you get a rip, you short the market. You get a rip like this one right here, you short the market. You get a rip right here, you short the market until you are proven otherwise. And the only way to be proven otherwise, price needs to get above the most previous lower or the most recent lower high. So in this case, the price of Bitcoin will have to get above $94,000. And what that means is that your stop loss is just right above $94,000. So, ladies and gentlemen, to simply put it, as long as the price, as long as the structure of Bitcoin continues to look like this, we should not be bullish on this market. Now, if you have a different strategy, if you have, a different way of reading the market, then by all means, stick to your strategy. And that's exactly what I encourage you to do. But based on my strategy, based on the way I do things, based on the way I read the market, I'm never going to be bullish on a market that looks like this. Absolutely not. Now, this has been taking place on the daily time frame. But I am afraid that this is trying to also take place on the weekly time frame, which is not going to be pretty. This is going to be ugly. If we start to get lower highs and lower lows on the weekly, all right. So far, guys, you can make an argument. The Bitcoin is still in a weekly uptrend, is still in a weekly uptrend. If your most recent weekly low is $74,000. So if this is your most recent weekly higher low, then you can make an argument the Bitcoin is still in an uptrend on the weekly, long as price stays above $74,000. Now, in my case, all right, instead of $74,000, I went with $98,000. And because $98,000 was broken, that is why I came to the conclusion that Bitcoin was no longer bullish long term. And what that meant was that I was now expecting a Bitcoin that was, that was going to be in a long-term downtrend, that looks exactly like what the daily time frame looks like. So I think on the weekly, Bitcoin is potentially going to do this right here, guys. All right, this is what I'm thinking. So going back to the weekly, right here, we have a Bitcoin that, recently got to $80,000, and then we went up to $94,000, and then, we're kind of going sideways right now. In the short term, the price action is very undecisive. If you go down to the lower time, this is the 4-hour right here, chat. Right. This is not a Bitcoin that makes sense directional wise. In the short term, no way you look at this Bitcoin picture right here and be able to identify, if Bitcoin is trending up or if Bitcoin is trending down. All right. This is a Bitcoin that is in a sideways trading. All right, the market is trending sideways, extremely unpredictable. A couple hours, the price of Bitcoin is a $90,000. The bulls rejoice and they begin to talk about, going back to $100,000. Hours later, the price of Bitcoin comes back in the mid $80,000 range. The bears rejoice again, and they start to talk about, down in the 70, 60, $50,000 range. So in the short term, we have a Bitcoin that is pretty much undecisive. And in my opinion, like we don't really have anything to talk about in the short term as long as the price of Bitcoin is above $83,000 and below $94,000. Between 83 and 94,000, there's really nothing for us to talk about. In terms of, we're going up to these targets or we're going down to these targets. Now, if the price was to break above $94,000, then we can start talking about, potentially 100,000, 110, 107,000. We can start talking about those targets. And also, if the price of Bitcoin goes below $83,000, we can also start talking about 74,000, 60,000, 50,000. But right now, it's very difficult. And if you are trading Bitcoin, I think you are, if you're long in the market especially with leverage, you're getting liquidated. If you're shorting the market with leverage, you're also getting liquidated. So I think, staying on the sideline in the short term is probably the smartest thing to do. So that would be my, breakdown of what we have right now. In terms of directional bias, guys, I'm still bearish on this market, and I've talked about why. And look, another reason, the more I look at the chart, the more I look at this daily right here, to me, I'm getting the vibes of late 2021. Like, honestly, guys, the price is below the 200 moving average. To me, this doesn't seal well with me. This is the first time with this further down from the 200 daily moving average. Throughout this bear market, guys, throughout this bull market, look, the last time the price was below the 200, it wasn't too bad at all, right? This was the last time, guys. And we had a low right here. We had a lower low right here. And then our third lower low, that was it. We got back above the 200, around $85,000, $88,000. Remember, we turned bullish right here. And price went to new all-time highs. Prior to that, the last time we were below the 200 daily moving average, it was right here, guys. Once again, it wasn't that bad. All right, first time we had a low right here. Second time we had a lower low. The third time we had a higher low. This was an inverse head and shoulders pattern. I don't know how many of you guys remember this. We became bullish right here, guys. Even more bullish right here. Right after this breakout right here. So to me, I'm looking at this. This is not good. Look how further down, price is from the 200 moving average. All right. I don't think, this is a market that looks well. Now, it doesn't mean that this is, the reason we should be calling for a bear market. But structurally wise, I see so many concerns, the more I look at the price of BTC. Early on in the bull market, guys, again, we were below the 200, but it wasn't too bad. All right, the 200 daily was around, 27,000. Price of Bitcoin, went as low as $25,000. And this was the other time. Again, it wasn't too bad. So when I look at the current state of BTC, I do got to be honest with you guys. I am getting this vibe right here. Like, this is the vibe I'm getting. I'm getting this vibe right here, guys. Maybe we go back and retest the 200. But I don't think it's going to be sustainable. Just like last time, I think we put in a lower high and then price will continue down. There is there's nothing for me to to be excited about. So if we go up, let's say we go up, guys, we probably we go back to the 200, somewhere around 100,000. But once again, like I think this will be over, and I think you'll be looking at a BTC that does something like this. I will say this right here, guys. Look, I am expecting a bear market rally. Like I'm expecting for Bitcoin to give us a nice trend line that will take us towards the end of the bear market. I'm expecting maybe something that looks like this. All right. So I am expecting at some point the price to go up and hit some of these levels. That's what I'm expecting. Like I don't think, months from now when the price, let's say the price of Bitcoin is around 50,000, I don't think we are going to be taking this top and connected to this high right here. Like I don't think so. I think we're going to be taking this top and we're going to be connecting to, what something else that we're about to get in the near future. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the next rally brings us to, let's just say $95,000. But that 95,000 is not from this low right here. That is a $95,000 from, probably somewhere around 74,000. Look, I'm just making up stuff, guys. Maybe something that looks like this. And then, we do this. All right. And then boom. And then this will give us a nice trend line. And then here we are going to get rejected again at some point. And then we finally get this would be the actual bull market breakout. So I'm basically talking about something that looks like this, chat. All right. Notice how, we have a nice clean trend line right here. And it's not taking these highs. Like we're not taking these highs right here and connecting to these highs, right? We're not doing this. We are not doing this, guys. All right. So I think something very similar, is more likely to play out. Maybe not right now. I might have to be a little bit more patient. But that is what my expectations are, So, yeah, look, I'm pretty much bearish on this market. I mean, not pretty much. I'm 100% bearish on this market, and I think staying on the sideline is the right, is the right thing to do right now. Hit the subscribe button if you're watching, and if you haven't already subscribed, hit that like button, guys. Make sure you like in the video. This is very, very, very important. And I want to keep this going. This is not a market that looks well, if you ask me. This is not a market that, guys, look, I've said this numerous times. If any of your favorite altcoin goes up 20%, 30%, if you get a 50% move, take profits. Take all your profits, because the entire pump is going to be retraced. The entire pump will retrace. I will share with you guys, numerous examples from the last couple of weeks where, some altcoins went up more than 100%, but we have retraced, the entire move. So this is not, this is not a market you want to play with. And there isn't too many out there who are talking about it. There's only a few of us. There is only a few of us, and everyone's still bullish on this market. But let me, in regards to Bitcoin, I want to share a bigger picture, because I think this is going to be a lot easier for many of you guys to actually grasp what is going on, guys. Look, this is Bitcoin monthly time frame. Bitcoin monthly, and I'm just going to share with you guys a few indicators. We're just going to take a look at the RSI, and we're going to take a look at the MACD. If we start with Bitcoin monthly MACD, chat, we have a bearish Bitcoin monthly MACD for the very first time. All right. We have a Bitcoin bearish monthly MACD for the very first time since July of 2023. I want you guys to take a look at this right here. This is the monthly time frame. We are not talking about the daily. We are not talking about the 1 hour. We are not talking about weekly. No, we are talking about a monthly time frame. Meaning, bro, this can take months. Months will turn into years. Right? So the last time we had a bearish monthly MACD, you gotta go all the way back to January of 2026. January of 2026, the price of Bitcoin was around, or should I say between $38,000 and $46,000. That was the last time Bitcoin's monthly MACD turned bearish. Here you got the sell signal right here, guys. Okay. And then we turned bullish in June of 2023. All right. June of 2023, you can clearly see it right here, guys. We had the crossover right here. The price of Bitcoin, let me show you where price was. Price of Bitcoin was around, or should I say between $28,000 and $31,000. That is when the monthly MACD gave a buy signal. So, since July of 2023, Bitcoin's monthly MACD has gave us another sell signal. We got the signal in November of 2025, and price was between $90,000 and $109,000. But let me show you something right here, guys. From January of 2023, from January of 2023 until January 2022 until July of 23, that's 546 days. All right, 546 days. That's how long you had to wait until, monthly MACD turned bullish again. If we were to go another 546 days, you'll be looking at, guys, this is not a prediction. I'm just trying to show you that most of the indicators have already flipped bearish on the higher time frame. 546 days, chat, you'll be looking at May of 2027. I'm not saying this is when you should buy Bitcoin, but I'm saying that if the monthly MACD was to turn bullish again, and if we were to experience a bearish declining in a monthly MACD for the same period as we did in the last bear market, you're looking at May 2027. That is a very long time from now, guys. But I just don't want to use the last bear market as an example. Let's use the 2018 bear market. 2018 bear market. This one is also another great example. Now, look, I think the MACD, if you use it in terms of a crossover is a buy signal, and then a cross down is a sell signal. I think that, look, can you make money in the market? Of course, but I think that is one of the worst. I think that's one of the worst ways to use a MACD. I use a MACD when I'm looking for divergencies, but you can also get some insight from just doing the basic way, right? Crossover is a buy, cross down is a sell, right? Anyways, look, in 2018, guys, when the price of Bitcoin was between 6,000, so this is the reason why I wouldn't rely on the MACD, using it this way, because based on the based on the 2018 bear market, you would have sold Bitcoin around 6,000. This is a Bitcoin that had just went to $20,000. So can you imagine you watch the price of 20,000 and then you wait until 6,000 to sell? I mean yeah, that's ridiculous. And then the bottom comes in at $3,000. That is ridiculous. Anyways, look. So June 2018, guys, we don't get a crossover until May 2019, which is right here. All right. If you think about, let's see how many days that was. That was about, yeah, that it's not 500 days, but still, that's like, that's 365 days, man. That's an entire year of just waiting. So, anyways, look, this is not looking good. Let's get rid of that. This is not looking good at all. If we use the RSI as another indicator, so what we want is, we want an RSI that is, above this 50 line. All right. Below the 50 line, that is normally, a good place to be a buyer. All right. But it takes time, of course. If you can buy Bitcoin when RSI has capitulated below the 50 line, now you have to be, more sophisticated. You got to have a little bit more strategy than just, hey, RSI is below the 50, so let me start accumulating. But if I'm looking at this RSI right here, guys, to me, I'd rather be patient. I'd rather be patient and wait until, this RSI is below this line right here, crosses above, and then maybe I'm accumulating as the RSI starts curving back up again. So imagine you accumulating right here, somewhere around here. Imagine here you accumulating somewhere around here. All right, instead of here, like here, if you would have accumulated, look, RSI right here, 53. If you would have accumulated 53 right here, you would have bought a Bitcoin that was at $45,000. But, months later, BTC was at 15,000. So that was not a good strategy. All right, and that was not, you still made profits if you just hold the position for the next 5-10 years. But, this is a better entry, somewhere down here. I'm not saying you get in exactly at 15, but you can get in below 23,000. You can get in below $20,000. So anyways, this is also, it's not looking good if you ask me. RSI is not looking good. MACD is not looking good. And the other thing that I also want to talk about is Bitcoin has lost its 10 monthly moving average. Yo, chat. I think one of the best strategies when it comes to Bitcoin is simply, wait until the price of Bitcoin breaks above the 10 monthly moving average, and wait until the price of Bitcoin, lose the 10 monthly moving average. The last time we crossed above the 10 monthly, you go back to when BTC was around $25,000. That was a great entry. At $25,000, all right, we crossed above, and now, at $98,000, between $90,000 to $98,000, we lost the 10 monthly moving average. I think this is a great exit. If you bought at 25 and you're exiting at 90, to me that's a great profit. That is a great investment if you ask me. Forget about tops and bottom. So, I'm looking at this and I see a Bitcoin, it's got to give it some time. I see a Bitcoin that's more likely, guys, coming back into around $50,000. I see Bitcoin going back to 50,000 because, looking like this on the monthly, yeah, I'm not bullish at all. Last time we lost the monthly moving average, in the last bear market was right here between, 38,000 and 46. We went from there down to $15,000. If you go to 2018, we lost the 10 monthly, sometimes around $7,000. But remember, I know it's a lot easier to say, holy smoke, man, 7,000. But guys, looking, you would have bought Bitcoin around $300 based on that strategy. All right, your entry was $300 and you exit around 7,000. You do the math, guys. I know, looking back, you go, well, price goes to 20,000. Why not above $10,000, guys? Remember where the position is coming from. This is a position that's coming from $300. So if your position is coming from $300, all right, and you ride it all the way up to around 7,000, yo, that's a 21x. that is that is incredible. This is not normal right here, guys. The professionals, they don't do a 21x in 2 years. Right? It doesn't work that way. Like this is amazing. I mean, this is more than amazing right here. But anyways, look, lost a 10 moving average. That was a bear market. Uh, Lost a 10 moving average. That was a bear market, and I think is exactly the same theme right now. I think we go lower. And if you ask me, I think $50,000 is a good place. Going to 50,000, that is basically it's more like a 60% retracement. Going from 126, so 126,000 down to 50,000. That's a 60,000% drop, guys. I don't think we go down 80%. Diminishing returns, so the drops they won't be that significant. I'm looking at this right here. So basically, I think we got about another 43% down to go. Now, this 43% is going to take time. I think you're looking at 6, 12 months from now. Between 6 to 12 months from now, I think you get this 40% drop. Price will go down, price will go up. We might be bullish maybe for a month or two, and then price goes down again. I don't know, Michael Saylor might get blown up. I mean, who knows, from bankruptcy or something. Maybe not Michael Saylor, but something, guys. Something is going to break, and if nothing breaks, okay, perfectly fine. It's a normal bear market, and then we start the next bull market. But this is a concern. All right, the more I zoom out, the more I use different indicators. The super trend, all right, weekly super trend for the very first time, chat, has turned bearish. Let me show you the significance of this right here, guys. Look, the weekly super trend flipped bullish back around $22,000. Around $22,000 in January of 2023. The super trend flipped bullish. For the very first time, man. All right, for the very first time, we turned bearish at 90. When we lost $95,000, that was it. So, based on the super trend, the only way for Bitcoin to go back bullish, price will have to break above $115,000. This is not good. All right, on the weekly, you don't normally get, many, like this could be a fake out, but you don't normally get a bunch of fake outs. Like you might get one, but you don't get two or three. When you go down to the lower time, if you go to the 4 hour, you see a lot of fake outs because, there's a lot of volatility and things, the things change very often. The higher time frames, things they just don't change very often, guys. You normally get a clean trend with some pullbacks, of course, but the trend is always intact. So if you look at the last bear market, all right, once again, this one was a fake out. Remember, this was the mid 2021, but that was the only fake out. We went bearish right here, around 44,000, and that was a long bear market until 2022, until $22,000 was broken. Look at the bull market, guys. All right, we broke above 10,000. That was the beginning of a legendary bull market, and we went from $10,000 to 69,000 based on the super trend. You go back to the bear market prior to that, once again, not a single fake out. Right? The moment we lost $10,000, like that was the beginning of a long-term bear market based on this indicator. And we didn't turn bullish until price was back above, $5,300. I don't think you want to take lightly any of these indicators and what we getting from them as far as information goes or data goes. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys. Hi, Brewski. How you doing, Danilo? Crypto KC. It's good to see you again. Yeah, guys, hit the subscribe button if you are new. Some of you guys who are new here, make sure you don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well, guys. Let's get these likes. So, anyways, look, yeah, I spent a lot of time looking at Bitcoin. Let's talk about, I've mentioned, Bitcoin is going through some stuff. All coins are going through some stuff. It's basically a disaster. But on the other side of us, all right, on the other side of us, we have what do we have? We have gold, all right? Gold is going parabolic. We have silver. Silver is going crazy. This is what crypto was supposed to look like, right? What gold and silver are doing is exactly what the cryptocurrency market was supposed to be doing right now. So let me get rid of some of these stuff right here, guys. Let me just bring up the chart of gold. I mean, this is unbelievable. Look at this right here, guys. I mean, this is, if you go to the monthly, guys, this is what a bull market looks like. It's a straight line. You just don't get this. You just don't get this stuff. Like, this is fluffy, man. This is nonsense. In a bull market, the chart is clean. Like, very, very clean. So you look at gold right here on the monthly. I mean, this thing has been ripping. Look, the lows came in around actually 2016. Now, this one, first was a slow grind. But this was the breakout, and then this is the acceleration of the move. Once we broke above $2,000, like, that was the takeoff. But gold is going crazy. Like, this is what the chart of Bitcoin was supposed to look like. If you look at silver, it's funny, I analyzed silver around $30 and I was very bullish on it. I was predicting $50. And look at silver right now, guys. Look, silver right here, chat. Right? This is what this market was supposed to look like. I analyzed silver somewhere around here. You guys know I like to share this stuff with you. Yeah, I analyzed silver. Let me share this with you guys. This was my analysis on silver back in, this is what, 12, no, this is not 12/19. This was posted, no, not that one. Silver. Right here. I analyzed silver back in 2024, August. So silver, yes. Look, I was like, guys, I love this chart right here. Once it clears $30, it goes straight to 50. We had some local resistance around 30, whatever. Yeah, this was silver. I was analyzing it. Right? Oh my gosh, man. Now you look at these charts. So price was right here at the time. And I was aiming at here. You see $48, $50 right here. It clears 30, boom. Yeah, that was. And once we clear 30, we did clear 30 right here. It just took some time. This is not crypto, of course, guys. So it takes time for things to move. But yeah, I mean, look at this. This is what your favorite altcoin was meant to look like this. Your favorite altcoin was meant to look like this. But let me show you what they looking like. This is what your favorite altcoin is looking like. I mean, honestly, guys, it is depressing. Look, I wouldn't tell anyone to buy altcoins again. To be very honest, now we charts that look like this. Absolutely. Look, Some people, they don't have any shame. Some people continue to say buy altcoins, continue to dollar cost average into what? Dollar cost average into, what money do we have left? I mean, honestly, look at Filecoin. Absolutely ridiculous. Look at this right here, CRV. It's ridiculous. Right? AIOZ is ridiculous, guys. PGN, PNG, or whatever. Look at this right here, guys. 3 cents. This thing is going. Remember, I analyzed this, guys, and I say, hey, look, I don't like it. I just don't. I honestly. Look at these rallies. Look at these rallies right here, guys. Look at this right here. Fake pumps. Fake pumps. Every single one of these, a great opportunity to get out. Every single one of these low pumps. Oh my gosh, man. This is unbelievable. Honestly. Unbelievable, honestly. AVAX. Let's take a look at AVAX. What is AVAX? AVAX. Look at AVAX, guys. I mean, this is bad. I'm expecting $8. Like, I'm expecting the retest of these. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad, people. I can't believe this, honestly. Can you imagine if you hold a bunch of these old coins? I hope none of you are still in old coins and hoping, for some sort of recovery. Like, this is not looking good. God, Chad, it's okay, man. We can wait until things actually turn around. But this is ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know what to tell anyone who still believe that there's something here. XCN, I spent, honestly, weeks saying stay away from this right here. Stay away from this thing. Guys, you know what's funny is that, I mean, this is not even funny because people are going to get hurt right here. I see an 80% crash. Like, I see an 80% crash. That's the saddest thing, Anyway, guys, appreciate you guys. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about, to be honest. Merry Christmas. Probably do another live stream tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe the day after. But I will have something to post. Merry Christmas. Subscribe, guys. Let's get these subscribers up. And yeah, I mean, take care. Bye-bye.